Hello, professors, students, and anyone out there on the internet. I'm Matt Storms, and I want to ask you a very important question. Do you prefer movies over books? Do you prefer watching shows over movies? Or do you prefer TikToks and Vines and viral media over shows? Now, think about how these things have gotten shorter and shorter and shorter, and their tactics to grab our attention. So they're grabbing a shorter attention and they're using tricks that play on certain chemicals in our brains, mainly the chemical dopamine. And that's the same uh, drug or chemical, it can be in certain drugs, in our brain that is a reward system. It gets us to play addictive games. It's the sole receptor that's played on over gambling, pornography, and as I said, certain drugs actually put that chemical in our brain. So that's the grab to these shorter media that we are consuming nowadays. So I want you to think about how that's affecting you. And do you think it's detrimental? Do you think it's causing ADD? Or do you think media is just adapting to ADD that we've already had? And ADD, yes, is attention deficit disorder, which is so common. And when I was a kid, it was just thrown around and almost like, yeah, sure, I get distracted, blah, blah, blah. So, but think about this. I want you to consider a very healthy pastime that was more popular back in the for probably thousands of years. That more than thousands of years. And then that's reading. That's reading a book. Just think about this, guys. There's so much research out there that is shown that's beneficial for us to read, and it helps our brain and it helps us to overcome if we like our ADD, like whatever normal is nowadays. Who knows what even normal is? It seems like it's just normal has gotten, shorter over the years. So I want to reference an article that I read on Healthline talking about the benefits to reading and reading books, basically, and reading in general. You can read them on it. Reading on the internet is probably just as effective. But I want you to think about this. Have you ever read a really good book and found out that it's going to become a movie? And then you get all excited because you love this book, and then you go and you watch it in a theater, and then you're just shocked at how horrible the director was. How could he mess up this book? You had such vivid imaginations and scenes, and like it just did not do this book any justice. Well, think about why is that? Why is the book so much more powerful than watching somebody else's depiction of this? You guys read the same story, right? You read the same book, and that's what made it to the big screen. So think about this. So your brain is think of the words as actually like code going into a computer. That's your code, and that's going to run the software, which is your brain. Your brain's like a mega computer. So your brain is way more powerful than any video processor or any sort of 3D graphics. And like you could say, like reading a book, I would say is almost like 4D graphics, which that's not provable. I can't say that. It's fourth dimensions. But think of it as 3D plus. Your brain adds a certain dimension to the story. So think of it, you watching a video clip, right? You're watching this. You can only absorb so much of it in that little time span. So, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, I say this, 1,000 words is worth 1,000,000 pictures. So when you're watching that short little clip, you're getting all those 1,000 words in like 2 or 3 seconds. So how much can you actually absorb? But when you're reading, that clip is slowed down, and it's like a painting. Picture like your brain is painting a picture, you're putting layers on it. There's no rush, it's not timed. So you just keep adding layers and layers of information. So by the end of the story, like your brain has just created this huge painting, but it's a 3D painting, say 4D painting. Now, I don't have any sort of research that says your brain does 4D, but just think of it in that concept. So your brain creates this beautiful, awesome picture, and it just creates layers upon layers because it can, instead of seeing just somebody pick up a phone and say something, now you're like, you can just layer it with words. What was he feeling? What, like, why did he do this instead of that? So you get to add all these extra dimensions to the story that get backfilled, and you don't get that with with movies and little clips, you know. So even though they're visually stimulating to your eyes and get your dopamines going, but you're not using your whole brain. So think about this: when you use your whole brain, the reading incorporates all the parts of your brain, all the neurons, and it's all in this article. Just look up healthline.com, and I'll go over some points here. It improves brain connectivity. It increases your vocabulary and comprehension, so that's always a plus. It empowers you to empathize with other people because the part of the brain that empathizes, that sympathy part, is stimulated when you're reading. And it also aids in you to go to sleep. Most people used to have a book to read when they go to sleep. It also lowers your blood pressure, your heart rate, it fights depression symptoms, and it prevents cognitive decline as you get older, and it contributes to a longer life. So all those are just great things when you decide to slow down and read a book. So please, feed your brain and read. Thank you.